Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. From 0 subscribers to YouTube Partner Program in less than 30 days. How I did it and my thoughts so far. Plus, Q a Love and Marriage Huntsville mini review. Full disclosure, I did not get into this for money or to become a content creator. I don't necessarily think of myself as a content creator, though I get it because I do create content. The thing is, I do so many other things in life that content creator doesn't crack the top 30. Plus, I'm just getting started. So am I really a content creator yet? In any case, the reason I actually did this was because I had some thoughts on some things, and I got tired of thinking them and not saying them. In other words, I had some things I wanted to share. There was a show I used to watch called Love and Marriage Huntsville that I got into because I thought it was going to explore real estate and business, both of which I am very much into. I knew they would deal with relationships to some degree. After all, the name of the show was Love and Marriage Huntsville, so I expected some of that, but not what it became. I was never entertained watching Melody fight for her marriage with a man that I didn't feel was putting forth the effort. After all, how much effort is required to keep your penis out of other women? Seems simple to me. I tend to be very no-nonsense, so I get that she wasn't going to necessarily have the same tolerance, or lack thereof, for the BS as I would, but it upset me to see her try so diligently while her husband made comments telling her to basically get with the program and understand that men are just going to cheat. It made me want to slap somebody. And because I like my entertainment to be actually entertaining, I started to get turned off from the show. I also didn't like that people were calling her husband a good dad. I didn't see it. I didn't understand how people could think a man that breaks up his family for no reason other than increased oral stimulation for himself could be identified as a good father. To me, he was a selfish, self-centered father. And that was even before I found out that he had been running around during the pandemic to get his rocks off. I thought he was a poor excuse for a father before I learned that he had been exposing his newborn, as well as his other children and his wife, to a deadly disease just to get his penis tickled. In my opinion, he couldn't have been a worse father if he tried. And in time, we did in fact come to see him try to outdo his own terribleness. But I appeared to be in the minority, as almost all others I saw were concluding that he was a good dad because they saw him pretending to be, or because he said he was. At some point, I think even Melody said that he had been a good father until they split. I think even she'd begun drinking the Kool-Aid of others' opinions when she likely knew in her heart that he wasn't a good father. It's my opinion that she said that he was a good father because she did not want to come off as bitter. And because maybe she did think he was a good father in comparison to the other fathers on the show. The key words there being in comparison. Because when you look at Marcel not seeming to even like his kids, let alone wanting to spend any time with them, heck, he didn't even know their allergies. And when you look at the fact that, at that time, Maurice's son was living in a whole other state away from him, so was obviously not being raised by him, I guess that did make Martel look like he was a good dad, since he would at least watch his kids while his wife worked. Never mind the fact that he would offload them back onto her to go play give a little, get a little with his eventual biggest regret. So ultimately, I think he played the part of a good father while he was with Melody, but the mask came off when they split, and he realized he could use his children to hurt their mother. Then we got to see how he really was and is as a father. Still, others tooted his horn about how great a father he was, and although I didn't see it, I had nowhere to express a difference of opinion. So other than fussing about it a little bit to my husband, I just shook my head and went about my business. Then there was Kimmy. People thought she was so fair and mature, but I saw her as conniving, and not just to Melody, but initially in becoming Maurice's wife. The ex-wife said it, plainly and clearly, that Kimmy had been in the picture while she was still working things out with her husband. Kimmy would like us to believe and has said that it was as Maurice's friend. But she must think we're stupid. For one, no married man needs a single woman as a friend. In the words of Damon Wayans, homie, don't play that. For two, Kimmy admitted to having a crush on Maurice. And didn't she attend some events and functions the wife threw? If that doesn't look like a side piece scoping out the scene to see how best to move in, then I don't know what does. I saw that. And I wondered why the general consensus was that Kimmy was one of the good ones, when she was so obviously the original coleslaw, just more advanced. As I did in the video I made about her, I like to call her chicken salad, because chicken salad often starts out as coleslaw, before it's jazzed up a bit. That is Kimmy all day long and twice on Tuesdays. So this was yet another way I disagreed with the popular opinion, yet there was nowhere to share. I also had dissenting opinions on Marceau and Maurice. Some referred to Marceau as intelligent. I thought, where? Just because he talks over Letitia and talks to everyone else in meaningless circles that get and go nowhere does not make him intelligent. It makes him someone who likes the sound of his own voice, sure. It makes him someone as slippery and slimy as a used car salesman, sure. But it does not make him intelligent. Plus, how hard is it to seem intelligent when the person you're in conversation with is Letitia? This is one of the most simple-minded women I have ever seen, and it would not be hard to come across as intellectual while in her midst. And as it concerned Maurice, people thought of the three guys, he was the model husband, which is why he tried to keep up the facade that he was never at the Atlanta weekend side piece booty call get-togethers. And I think his brother got tired of him pretending to be the good guy in their circle of lies when he knew that Maurice was just like them. So that's why he blew up his spot with that picture taken by Martell Holt's mistress. But I had already suspected that to be the case. There is a reason the saying, birds of a feather flock together, rings true. And that's because it is. Just like I believe Marceau and Maurice's influence is why Martell started cheating. In other words, and as I said in previous videos, he saw them cheating and getting away with it, and he wanted in too. So it is also with Maurice, who was doing the same as his brother Marceau and eventually Martell. He was also cheating. He was just able to pretend to be a good guy because his wife was so desperate to believe it herself and to keep up the facade that he was. That's why she didn't want the public to know that Maurice stayed out until all times of the morning. She didn't mind it. After all, she was just happy to be someone's wife and have her status elevated from coleslaw to chicken salad. But she knew anyone with common sense would know it wasn't okay. So she didn't want us to know. Then, finally, there was Letitia. I think for me, she was the straw that broke the camel's back. Although Melody had been being misused and mistreated by her husband and his goonies, and that was definitely what made me walk away. What made me stay away was Letitia. That reunion show when Melody was pregnant and Martell was letting it all hang out that the three guys had all been cheating, saw us witness Marceau take advantage of Letitia's simple-mindedness and lack of intelligence, and it felt like exploitation. It felt like a person with normal intelligence taking advantage of someone with special needs, and I couldn't stomach it. Letitia's husband Marceau had managed to make her feel bad for daring to ask follow-up questions from the man who was self-admittedly cheating on his wife alongside her husband. And not only did her husband have her believing her asking the questions that would have and should have exposed him were her being a bad mom and bad example for their daughters, he also got Maurice to help him seal the deal. So Letitia would sit back quietly and not ask the questions that could get her the answers she probably already knew in her heart. I couldn't stomach that. Melody's abuse was bad, but she was strong, smart, and capable. Plus, she saw through the BS. Letitia wasn't any of those things and looked like a lost, drowning child. What was worse was that, instead of being thrown a life vest, she was belittled for needing one. But the public saw her as smart, as educated. The girl couldn't find her way out of her sheets in the morning, couldn't spell to save her life, couldn't pronounce or understand even the most basic of words. But because she went to the University of Yes, we'll take your money and give you and anybody else this piece of paper. People claimed Letitia was intelligent. I nearly fell out of my chair, and I wasn't even sitting down. Needless to say, this was yet another opinion on which I disagreed. You see, I saw all that, and wanted to say what I believed, but had nowhere to do it, nowhere to say it. So I started a YouTube channel in 2022, February 22nd of 2022, to be exact, because I like the date, with all the twos lined up, because I'm casually into numerology, and I love numbers. But I did nothing with it. I was too busy living life to comment on others living theirs. I was off living in and exploring Europe, and just living life to the fullest with my family, and I had no idea what was happening anymore with the Love and Marriage Huntsville gang. But when I returned, it seemed all hell had broken loose. Martell had fully taken off his mask and was letting his real face show. The mistress, already previously emboldened by acceptance from the general public, had lost her natural mind and was out in her full demonic glory, as if she deserved to be someone known for something other than being a boil on the butt of all of humanity and existence. And actually, I didn't even think she should be known for that. I'd have rather her name and face not even be known at all, because despite her opinion, she was never that girl. She was just the nearest girl, and if not her, Martell would have cheated and attached himself to someone else. He was never a man capable of standing alone in any regard, so he would have leaned on some woman somewhere for something, be it for life support, like he leaned on Melody for, or penal support, like he leaned on his gutter rat for. But he is a leaning man, so he would have leaned somewhere and on someone. So I decided to speak up. First and foremost, I wanted to let Martell and others like him know that what he was doing, the choices he was making, and how he was living his life, cheating and such, was going to end badly. So I used a story to tell him what he had to look forward to. I also wanted to reach out to Melody to tell her I was proud of her, because I was. She had been through so much, but was choosing to still put God first and to rely on his strength to get her through. And in doing so, she was showing so many others that God still delivers. I liked that, and I wanted to let her know. And so those two videos, along with the channel introduction, marked the beginning of my channel on January 20th of this year, about 47 days ago today. And that was all she wrote. I have found success, fairly rapid success, by YouTube standards at least, because I am talking about what is truly in my heart. I am giving my opinion and my insight on things that I have genuine feelings about. I am just being myself and talking about the things I would be talking about, whether at home or on a public platform. That's why you will see my topics range from Love and Marriage Huntsville stuff all the way up through politics, with various stops at Meghan Markle's lies and delusions and Halle Bailey's unfortunate pregnancy so early in her career, and with a man that raps about her being a bee, as well as Jennifer Lopez's search for love from anyone besides herself. You will see me deal with self-love and colorism and racism and political fodder from district attorneys on up to former presidents. Truly, no topic is off limits and no holds are barred. If it is something that I want to talk about, with an emphasis on spreading gained knowledge, wisdom, and insight, then I will bring it up and hope for a discourse. This is why you will sometimes hear me reference Martell Holt's mistress and baby mama's behavior, because it is ripe with material that many can learn from, especially with so many seemingly intrigued by her. My thought is always that if they see what she represents, what she is losing, giving up, if I show how she looks and why it isn't a good look, it might head off some young women who would have otherwise followed in her path. But even when referencing the demon's behavior, you will never hear me say her name or show her face, because it's not about her. She is just what the lesson can be drawn from, the mistake not to make. She's just a vessel, no more, no less. In any case, with some of my topics, I have encountered people on different sides of the aisles with very different opinions, particularly as it concerns politics. And I love it because I love a good discourse. As I've said since day one, I welcome all opinions on this channel, as long as they are delivered respectfully. And I appreciate the time it takes people who are otherwise busy with life to share their time and opinions with me. All in all, I made it to the YouTube Partner Program in record time because I use my own authentic voice to talk about how I feel about topics that mean something to me. And I also think I've achieved this so far because I did not go into it like it's a job that I'm going to make money from. I am still not making money from it, though the option to do so is available. When I saw the congratulatory note a few days ago, I didn't even click on the button. I smiled and proceeded on with my day. I still haven't set anything up and am in no rush to do so. Right now, this journey for me is just me sharing my heart with others and getting to virtually meet so many awesome people who are willing to share their hearts with me. To be honest, some of the things I see in terms of topics that are popular and that elicit a response from others make me realize we still have a lot of work to do as a people. And I'm not talking about those of us who are the same color. I mean, don't get me wrong, we definitely have a lot of work to do too. But I mean, as a people, as human people, we have far to go to get back to decency and goodness with one another. That said, as much as I realize we still have a ways to go in a lot of ways, I also realize that people are lovely and loving for the most part, and all just want to be heard. I hope on my channel they always feel and get that from me. All right, y'all, that's it. And that's all. Hello there. If you like truth, you'll like it here. Welcome. If you don't, or if you believe in groupthink or bullying others into believing the popular opinion, then this isn't the place for you. So go ahead and just cancel me now. On this channel, we don't discuss my truth or your truth. We discuss the truth, and no topic is off limits. So, log in, like, subscribe, get comfy, and comment. It's nice to have you here. So let's talk.